and go. Hi, it's John Landers from TBAIMS, originally the Big Apple Indie Music Series, now the Best Artist Indie Music Series, with future events called Connecting Through Music. And I have here today, we have Jason Damico, and he performed actually twice for us back in 2014 at Toshi's Living Room back in May and in September of that year. Jason, thank you for joining us for this interview.
Thanks for having me, John. It's great to be with you here today, and looking forward to it.
Yep. So let me ask you, what was your impression of our showcases back in the day when we started that?
Yeah, no, it's what's it been, about 10 years since we were in
10
the Big
years.
Apple. I think it was remind me the name of the venue. Toshi's, right?
Toshi's Living Room. Yeah, Toshi's Living Room.
It was a great, we made a weekend out of it. It was fantastic. We came up from North Carolina, and I think Joel Sugarman was on bass at the time with us, and Joel's still a great friend of ours from down here. And he's a New Yorker himself, from Long Island originally. He's like, yeah, I'll drive up, or come on up. Sounds like a cool time. And then Kevin, who's still my drummer to this day, he came up as well, and we had a great time. I think we did, about a 30-minute set. It was a beautiful venue right in downtown Manhattan. It was just a great event, great experience, and one of my fond memories in my later teen years. Building the career was just a lot of fun.
Cool, very good. When did you first realize that music was your calling?
I think intuitively, since I was about 4 or 5, even though I wasn't really, I got a lot of musical influence from my parents early on. I think spiritually and intuitively at about 4 or 5. And then it really started to solidify. I always tell people this very quick story. We were going on a family vacation, excursion, whatever, probably to Jersey and to New York to see other family. So, my parents and I got in at the time, the minivan, right? The damn minivan. And we stop in at Barnes & Noble. This was still during the CD era. And my dad goes, let's get some CDs for the road. Let's get some new music. Now, at the time, the cowbell skit on SNL came out probably a few years before this, because I think I was like 6 or 7 when that happened in like 2001. So I want to say it was probably 3 years after, but I still remember that skit. I was like, yeah, let's get some like Blue Oyster Cult. Like, I want to hear Don't Fear the Reaper. And, it's just like, it was always this thing. And he's like, you sure you want to go down that road and check them out? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, here, I want to play another band. By the way, I'm not saying anything disparagingly to Blue Oyster Cult, great band. But my dad's like, look, let me show you a couple other bands as well, and you kind of, tell me what you think. So he plays a little bit of, you put the headphones on at Barnes & Noble, and they scan the barcode, and plays a little bit of that first record with Blue Oyster Cult, or one of those records. And then he sits there and he goes, okay, well, check this one out. And there's like these 5 dreary figures on the album cover, and says Deep Purple Machine Head. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I flip it over, and there's like this bass headstock, kind of like over here, and it's all smeared, and really what it is just like lens flare and a really open aperture on the camera, just really like crazy. It's just very mystique. He puts that thing on, and Highway Star opens up, and I was just in a whole other world. It was just completely, it just completely blew my mind. It was illuminating to me. And from that moment on, it was like, whatever this is, I've got to be a part of this. And that really fueled the fire for me. I want to say I was about 12 or 13. So, probably like mid 2000s was when that happened. And I had been playing drums, for 8 years up to that point. I started very young at about 4 or 5. But that just, that really was like the catalyst. And then from there, got obsessed with Stevie Ray Vaughan in my late teen years. And that's how I kind of migrated from drums to being up front and singing and playing guitar and writing songs. So a little bit of a roundabout there, but hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, I mean, did you teach yourself guitar? Did you have some, lessons taken on that?
Yeah, I mean, the only lesson I had was a little bit before that. I was really my dad, and I came
Ah,
to him because he had guitars laying around the house, and he had this like little and we still have it somewhere around here. This little nylon acoustic guitar that he grew up on,
hmm.
and I would try and putz around with it here and there, and I just wasn't able to make any sound. I was getting frustrated. I said, "Hey, why is it not making any noise when I'm trying to play?" And he's like, "Oh, you're not pressing down hard enough." That was the only thing I really needed. That was kind of I was off to the races at that point, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I just need to press down a little bit harder."
Very
Um,
cool.
yeah,
So who are some of your other influences in music today?
yeah. So I mean, like I said, Stevie Ray Vaughan, huge, huge, huge influence. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for Stevie. Deep Purple for sure. Mark Farner, huge influence. He was probably my first major musical influence with Grand Funk Railroad and even his solo career. He did some faith-based Christian music for a long time in the
Hmm.
80s and 90s. Still probably does a little bit to this day as well. Um, love the Doors, the Police, Stuart Copeland on drums, Sting, Andy Sumner's incredible. Hendrix, obviously. You said today specifically, you know, I have a lot of respect for Jelly Roll.
Oh
Love what he's
yes.
doing.
Hmm.
And because he's broken out pretty much in the last couple of years. And I mean, he's in his late 30s and he won, I think, best new artist or something like that recently with the Country Music Awards. And there's so many Prince, you know, I mean, the list goes on and on. There's just so many great musicians out there and writers.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What has been your challenges in your music career getting started and with the internet coming on board? What did you find between here and the 10 years ago and what the changes?
Sure. I think it's a great question. I think, you know, I think for anybody who aspire, it depends on what you want, right? And I'll also throw John Mayer in there as another influence, major influence. And I say
Mm,
that to say because I remember him saying in an interview a while back, it's okay to want um, fame. It's okay to want uh, accolades and recognition. You just have to be honest with yourself. And some
yes.
artists, they may not want that. Some artists, they may just want to do kind of like local circuits and whatnot. Me personally, I've wanted to go as big as I possibly could go and could be because that's just an inner desire of mine. Now, what
Right.
exactly that looks like, I'm not really sure beyond, just bring the music to the people as much as we possibly can. And, to answer the question specifically on challenges, I think, I'd say earlier on in my career, it was more of like the external challenges. Now, with about
Hmm.
10, 15 years in, it really, from an entrepreneurial perspective, it's like, what's going on inside the brain? What's going on inside mentally, and being able to have the right mindset, the right attitude, not taking no for an answer, really doing the inner work and knowing what it is that you're doing as an artist, the why, and if it's
Hmm.
not 100% the why, at least an idea of the why.
Okay.
And, it's for me, it's more of when that stuff is all locked in and in check, it seems like great things happen. Or when terrible things happen, they're not terrible. And you're able to see that perspective and shift, and everything just starts working out.
Right, right. So what would you say is the most effective way you can market your music today?
It's I think it depends first off on what you enjoy doing the most as an artist. And again,
Hmm.
I'm talking from a very inner game perspective because this is just stuff that's worked for me, where I've seen the most traction for myself with a podcast, with an acting career, with a music career. So for me, it's like I've had personally a better time um, when I've built platforms and created my own opportunities and invite others to come along with it instead of like
Hmm.
asking for a handout. And that's very difficult to do in an artist perspective, right? If you want an opening slot, if a great band's coming through, how much value do you really have to offer some band that's coming in and maybe they've got 500,000 or a million followers, maybe they are at the Jelly Roll level or something like that. How much value do you really have to give in that situation? I don't really know. I don't know the answer to that on a physical level, but, people are human. It's cliche, but I mean, it's true. People are human. So it's like, it becomes a numbers game as far as how many doors you want to knock on, how many calls you want to make, how many emails you want to send. And again, when your attitude is right, the facts don't count. I'm a big, big, big believer in that, and I mean, it's to a certain degree kind of go off the deep end with that type of analogy, but hopefully that kind of sheds a little bit of light on it.
And are there any social media sites that work better for you than others? Do you have any preference?
I've always loved Instagram. I know that TikTok has been, again, this is me personally. I'm not a fan of TikTok.
I'm personally not myself either. I share that with you.
And here's the crazy thing. I've been hired by TikTok about 2 to 3 years ago. I was a creator for TikTok, and I am extremely grateful for that work that came in and the agency that put me in touch with them. TikTok is a phenomenal platform. I just personally don't like it. So that's just for me. And I did it. I went viral a couple of times with some production videos and whatnot. I just don't, for me, I don't enjoy it as much as some other platforms. And for me, I like playing live. So, it's just kind of being aware of that, right? It's that self-awareness, that inner game aspect to it, and just going, but to answer your question, TikTok, I mean, if you want like fast results, quick, there's a formula. I know the formula. I got hired by them to do it. I know how it works. It's all algorithmic. You got to do tight edit. I'm not going to get into it's all out there on the internet, but TikTok is still kind of king of the heap right now. Instagram is still a staple. I know that there was a lot going on with Twitch for a while, but I think it's more in the gaming world. So you really just have to do what works for you. I love YouTube. I'm old school. I love YouTube.
I'm a fan of YouTube.
Yeah. Because there's a search engine,
How do you reach online radio networks to play your music? What's your approach on that?
We've landed dozens over the last decade for sure. A lot of them I think have just gotten picked up through playlists. Like somebody will hear us on somebody else's Spotify playlist or something like that.
Right.
Or we just cold pitched, or somebody heard us on terrestrial radio and then maybe it got picked up, or they saw us on YouTube or something like that. So I mean, it could be really any one of those amalgams of possibilities, but typically it's through word of mouth.
Okay. What would you tell a new artist that is looking to pursue a music career in today's environment? What's your guidance on that?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind off the top of my head is just always be a student. Always be a student. You don't know what you don't know.
Be coachable.
Yes. One of the things that I wish that I knew earlier on was that mindset. But then again, at the same time, you have to have your own tastes and your own, you have to have your own discrepancies and your own tastes, because that's who makes you.
Right.
And some people, it just takes a longer time to develop, than
That's
others.
True.
I mean, and there's a lot that goes into it. A lot of these artists that you see that make it and they get picked up by major labels at 14, kind of like the Justin Bieber or the Taylor Swift story. Yeah, I mean, they definitely put themselves in positions for that to happen. But that was a corporational team that was around them. There were hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that went into that, even beyond them going viral. Even 15 years ago, viral was still happening. It was happening now. So my advice would be, you got to do what you love if you love doing it. And it's again, the deepest cliches out there, but you really have to do what you love. And if you love it, it's not going to feel like work. Yeah, you're going to be grinding out. It's, there's just days and weeks where it's like, what am I even doing? But you really, if you're doing it for the right reasons and you're doing it not only for you, because ultimately you do need to do it for you. Being selfish is ultimately the most selfless thing you can do. Because if you're happy doing it, that happiness and that joy is going to reach other people. And that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
So love what you do and just keep playing, man. Get the 10,000 hours in, get as much experience as you can, and figure out your way to, another thing would be, don't look for handouts, create your own opportunities. So if you see something, or, stay in an abundant mindset, stay positive, and it's a lot easier than being focused on the negative.
Cool. Yeah. So what are you working on today with your music? What's your current projects?
So yeah, I'll see you later. So we're working on a live record right now, which we're really excited about. That's going to be coming out probably in the next couple of months. We did a couple of shows in the last year at a really great venue here in North Carolina, and we're going to be releasing a live album from those performances. Really excited about that. So that should be set in stone, released first quarter of 2024. We're finalizing kind of the album artwork, cover, the layout and whatnot. Really excited about that. We've got a Florida tour that we're still finalizing for the last week of February. So we're still working on solidifying some of those dates and rounding that out. And then we're looking to, quite honestly, we're in the process of tour bus shopping as well. So that's been taking up the last 2 to 3 months of our lives over here, trying to figure that out. And a lot, great stuff. Yeah, just scaling up, and finding ways to do it, and just get back. The world's opened up again, and whether it shuts down or not, I really don't care. This is something that we want to do with the organization. Yeah, and just get a vehicle that's really going to help us take the music to the people, get out there, meet everybody, and just have a great energy swap, and just get out there.
Okay, so I just want to share everyone that jasondamico.com is your website if anyone wants to check you out. And is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience before we finish up on the interview?
I don't think anything specific. Just really grateful for the platform, John, and really appreciate our friendship over the years, and just trying to navigate this crazy industry. And it's always a pleasure talking with you, and just exchanging ideas.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much. Hang in there, and thanks for watching, everyone. And there'll be more coming down the road. Here we go.